So apparently I have an opinion about education and curriculum. Like, who would have thought? I have no idea. Can we discuss Common Core math and the absurdity of it all? Let's do that, shall we? So kids, I'm really concerned at this Common Core or new math. I've seen many videos of it in the past, and I knew it was something completely weird to me, but I guess because I don't have kids, I don't have any friends who have kids, at least that are in school, and it's not something that is a discussion in my life every day, so I kind of just happenstance saw it and put it in the back of my mind, never talked about it again until recently when I was just kind of paying attention to how things are connecting. And I speak a lot on just kind of an opinion of mine being that from all sides of anything that is truly just human nature, like stuff we need, water, food, shelter, stuff like that. Just noticing the powers that be, governments, stuff like that working together slowly take it away from us and make it awful. So like our air quality, I don't know if you follow chemtrails or the pesticides we're using, stuff like that. Water, same pesticides, agricultural, big agro, runoff, prisons, runoff, all of this stuff horrible for our water supply, oil spills, stuff like that. Our food, Monsanto, they've single-handedly almost killed full crops. We don't even have real soybeans anymore. Certain things are gone. And it's just because we decided GMOs were a good idea, and they're not. They're not, and we don't need them. We don't need them to feed the world. We already have an abundance of food to feed the world. This is absurdity. It's stuff we're all buying into and believing, and it's really sad because we're only hurting future generations. But all this to be said, I started taking notice of like Common Core math because I'm sitting here being like, well, they're dumbing us down. Obviously, schools are getting dumbed down through Big Pharma forcing Adderall and Ritalin and all that shit down kids' throats just for being hyper, but that's also because we've taken away recess and put in Pepsi and Coca-Cola into the schools, so it's like, I don't know what parents expect. I can't believe the public school system isn't being checked real fucking hard by citizens sending their kids to it. It is a institution. It's the military. You're getting your kids conditioned and ready to believe in the government, to fully support and not question the government. There have been news clips, investigative stories, as you will, about how kids are taking tests where some of the questions say, like, true or false, do you have the ability to question authority? Or is the government ever wrong? Stuff like that, like ingraining it in kids that you do not question authority, you do not talk back to a police officer, you do comply, and it's eroding the Constitution. They're doing it slowly. Gotta give them credit for that. They're playing a game of chess. It's interesting to see and to watch. It's sad. But just alone in the schools, what they're doing to kids and how they're taking something so basic and so necessary and easy to learn as math, like basic math, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, they're taking it and making it so difficult and so hard to understand. And personally, for me, that's just really hard to digest because going through school, I had a hard time with math. I had a really hard time with math, and there were so many times that the language of math being taught to me the way that it was made me so defeated and really tore me down because it made me feel like I was really stupid. I was being put in these programs for like remedial math, I was taking like applied math, and it was all of these labels on these classes and stuff, and like these special education classes you would take, or with teachers who kids would make fun of because they're special ed teachers. And I'm making this sound probably worse than it actually was, but all this to say, a kid digests that information to think he's stupid. And I grew up thinking I was dumb because I couldn't do math. I couldn't get an A in math class. It was hard. And I grew up in a single family household. We didn't have much money. My mom worked 2 jobs. I had to do my own homework. I didn't have a parent to help with homework, and we couldn't afford tutors and stuff like that. There were programs after school, but again, me in my own body and mind, I just felt ashamed and stupid. I was shamed into feeling like I couldn't keep up, and it just makes me feel bad for kids now because Common Core math looks so intense and so idiotic, and something that adults in Alabama or Mississippi sat down at a round table and said, how can we make math difficult? Like, it already is for a child to understand. Numbers are really intense, and when you start putting in shapes, like, what the fuck, pi? Come on. But when we start to do that, we have to understand kids are looking at this from a way different perspective, and to try to ingrain a really complicated math style, a math style that not only doesn't make sense, but I think if you tried to teach it to most adults in this country, they would not be able to pick it up. This is serious. We're going to have an entire generation of people who grow up not being able to do math the way that the rest of the country does math. This is really problematic, and it's just one thing. It's just one thing. Take a look at the water in Flint, Michigan. That's in school districts. Come on. What are they doing? What are people in power doing? Why did that last for over a year? Why are kids now having to face a life of irreversible damage because of people who couldn't act? What are we doing? What are we allowing? Why are we as young adults allowing this? I don't have children, but I have a voice, and I don't care about the people who say, you can't speak on this, you don't have kids, or you can't speak on this, you're a Democrat, or you can't speak on this, you're a socialist. It's like, shut up, you're all those things too. You don't understand. The more you bitch and complain about taxes or land grabs or your food supply or the price of sin tax going up for cigarettes or gambling or like all of this insanity. All of this insanity is stuff we have power over, but we got to stop labeling to divide. We're all democratic people, okay? You don't have to divide it Democrat, Republican. We're all for democracy. We want to lead as a strong, united nation. We want to be heard. We're all, in a way, equalists. I hate the word feminist. That's going to be a whole nother video. I'll get into it. But I want to feel equal with my fellow brothers and sisters. I don't want genitalia to divide us. I don't want women to have to fight for equal pay. That's absurd. They're doing the same job. They deserve equal pay. This is absurd. The fact that we're still, in 2016, discussing if women have a right to decide what to do with their own bodies with abortion, this is absurd. I don't know how as adults we're able to have these conversations without laughing. I feel, my own personal opinion is, we're carrying the stupid. I feel like we're allowing stupid, ignorant people to be allowed a voice in this country, and I think we have more stupid people in this country than we're aware because of the education system. Not anyone's sole fault. It's been a cohesive effort with a lot of people in charge to dumb us down, and we're allowing the stupid to have an opinion and it carry equal weight. When people vote for Trump, that's absurd. That's absurd to me, and the fact that their vote for Trump cancels out a smart vote for Bernie Sanders, a person who would actually give these people voting for Trump the future they want. Trump isn't giving you the future you want. If you live in a trailer park, you want Bernie Sanders. That's the only candidate you want. You want Bernie, or you want to leave the country, because that's another thing. Most people love to say, then get out of this country if you don't like who's getting... Well, that's not very patriotic, because I stand up for a country that deserves better. Okay? Bernie Sanders is patriotism. That's patriotism at its best. He wants everything for every fellow man. This is absurd, us thinking that Hillary is a Democrat. This is absurd, us thinking that Trump is patriotic. They are so the opposite of everything they spew, and nobody's calling them on it. And the people that are being silenced. It's insane. It's insane. And just watch social media. It's insanity. People who are in fear and acting out of the root chakra and just anger. Those are the people that are going to redact you with, oh, no, that's not how it is. You don't know what you're talking about. They'll never have the seed. They'll never have the seed of the fact because they're so defensive and they're worked up. Let's take voting for Hillary, for example. Most people, when they say Bernie Sanders people need to fucking step up to the plate, and if he doesn't get the non-vote for Hillary, no. You do not need to believe that, because Hillary Clinton is a war hawk. Talked about it last video. Scroll back, look at it, watch it, read it, love it. it's yours. But she isn't a Democratic candidate. She is a war hawk, a warmonger, a fear mongerer with Saudi Arabian money in her pocket. It's sick. Look her up, investigate, do your work, okay? But seriously, do not feel, because you're a Democrat, stupid, that you need to vote for a fellow Democrat just to do that, to keep Republicans out of office. Do I think a Republican should take office? Obviously not. Do you hear those words coming out of my mouth? Don't put them in my mouth. But I'm saying vote for Bernie, okay? You have an option to give you what you want. Nobody's taking advantage of it. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to call that out. Common Core math is the Hillary Clinton of this election. In all honesty, we think it's something we can entrust the government to give us, but it ain't. It ain't, and we've been kicked in the face before, and we need to wake the fuck up. We need Bernie Sanders, who will harken back to the days of John F. Kennedy, one of the last presidents who actually had our back, who will harken back to the day of Abe Lincoln, one of the only other presidents to ever have had the people's back. And these two also had things against them. Not the best people in the world, but they were for the people while they were president. They were trying to do good things. Those are really the only two presidents that I truly do appreciate that we had in our past. Every other president is flawed with some sort of weird Freemasonry, anti-religion, anti-science. Like, look into it, okay? People have the right to believe things through their life, and some become presidents, and they're people too. So look into our history. That's why people say if you know your history, you are not doomed to repeat it, because you would never vote for somebody as crazy as George Sr. ever again. If we started to get real information out there, we would never have voted for Bill Clinton ever again. It wasn't a good decade. We need to start paying attention. We need to pay attention because we've been so removed from how good things can be on Earth. The Garden of Eden, the land of plenty, the land of bounty, the land of justice and freedom for all, this is real. These are words on our Constitution, but the Constitution of the world, it's natural law, a video that I'll be doing in the future. Let's start paying attention, treating each other with the respect we think we deserve. And I was recently watching something, a presenter talking about how we need to treat people, saying that the golden rule shouldn't be what it is. It shouldn't be respect is treating people the way you want to be treated. It should be called not treating people the way you would not want to be treated. Basically saying, don't do to people what you wouldn't want done to you. Because if you think of it the other way, it says, do to people what you would want done to you. So a masochist could want a sadist to hurt them, but that's not everybody. So don't do unto people what you want done unto you. Don't do unto people what you don't want done unto you. And that's having your rights taken away, having your privacy taken away, not being afforded the ability to have clean air and water and land and love, compassion, harmony. This is what we need to start thinking about. This is reality. It may sound cuckoo bananas, and it might be because I'm 1 or 2 hits in, my brothers, but seriously, you need to be as well. Start looking at that. The herb is not your enemy, and that's another thing that you need to think about when you vote. Sanders is about herbal medicines. He is about naturopathy, and that's a huge, huge nail in the coffin as to any other candidate ever being elected, in my opinion. Bernie Sanders is for the future of freedom, and that is releasing yourself from the money that binds you to prescription drugs and horrible Monsanto food and a bad education. Think about it, learn it, investigate it, leave your opinions in comments below. Try to keep it civil. I get that this pisses people off, but you know what? Do you. Think in your own brain and then try to be civil on the outside. Anyway, take care of yourselves today. Peace out, my friends.